is News Channel 4 at 11.
Good evening, Sue is off. I'm Linda Beccaro. The verdict brought some comfort to the families of a little girl and a limo driver killed in a head-on collision.
But the emotional scars may never go away. A man who drove the wrong way down the Meadowbrook Parkway following a night of heavy drinking was convicted today of murder. Carolyn Gusoff is live at the courthouse in Mineola right now with reaction to the verdict. Carolyn?
Chuck, the jury grappled with this case for 5 days and twice declared itself deadlocked, but late today, a verdict that brought a cry of relief from the victims' relatives in the courtroom and a very unusual display of emotion from jurors who consoled each other as they wept in court. Family members of the victims hugged and cried. It was the justice they had prayed for. Martin Heidgen found guilty of murder, depraved indifference to human life.
And they reached the absolutely, indisputably correct verdict: murder, which we've told you all along.
Thank God. Relief, finally. You know, the truth comes out.
It was the right verdict. I'm happy for that.
The jury chose the most serious charge, believing that 25-year-old Heidgen, with 3 times the legal limit of alcohol in his blood, knew he was driving the wrong way on the Meadowbrook Parkway and just didn't care who got killed, telling a state trooper he was in self-destruct mode. Killed in the crash, limousine driver Stanley Rabinowitz and 7-year-old flower girl Katie Flynn. The case became the centerpiece of DA Kathleen Rice's Get Tough on Drunk Drivers policy.
That this was a murder case and that intoxication, voluntary intoxication, is no excuse for murder.
But jurors say they weren't swayed by politics. These two say deliberations were heated and nearly got violent until 2 holdouts finally gave up their insistence on a lesser charge.
He got into the car. He turned the key. He drove. He turned around. He avoided stimuli to make him get out of the way. And it wasn't an accident because he brought this upon himself, and he caused the death of 2 people.
He had enough clarity to realize that he was going the wrong way.
Heidgen showed little emotion as a weeping jury forewoman announced the verdict. He had conceded he was drunk, but argued he was lost and didn't realize he was driving the wrong way.
I will pray the rest of my life for all the victims and everybody involved in this tragic accident.
But the jury found this was no accident, it was murder, and the penalty is the same as if Martin Heidgen had intentionally killed 2 people. He could face up to 25 years to life in prison. Meanwhile, the jurors who spoke publicly tonight, they say they have no idea what changed the minds of those 2 holdout jurors, but they do say that there were plenty of tears in the process. Reporting live from Mineola, Long Island, Carolyn Gusoff, News Channel 4.
Carolyn, thank you. Yesterday on Long Island, another driver was convicted of murder for the wedding night crash that killed 2 people. Now, the decision to charge a drunk driver with murder is rare and controversial. Carolyn Gusoff tells us if it's likely to have any lasting impact.
A lot of yelling, screaming.
Banging,
it came close to physical violence.
It almost came to blows in the jury room for those deciding whether this horrific drunk driving crash amounted to murder. The jury had to evaluate Martin Heidgen's state of mind when he drove drunk the wrong way on the Meadowbrook Parkway, killing 2 people. To convict of murder, they had to conclude he was conscious of the risk and disregarded it.
To me, he seemed to know what he was doing.
But Nassau District Attorney Kathleen Rice thinks jurors shouldn't have to read someone's mind to convict a drunk driver of murder. She thinks the act of driving drunk shows an utter disregard for human life and plans to push for new state statutes which make murder the norm in drunk driving deaths.
We have to have appropriate laws on our books so that it's not the exception when a drunk driver goes out and kills 1, 2, in this case 2 people, and sometimes even more. It should be the norm that I can charge people with murder when they drink and kill someone.
Victims of drunk driving crashes agree.
Your thinking is depraved. You're saying, I'm going to go out, I'm going to drink, I'm going to get drunk, and who cares what happens? I'll take my chances.
So you'd like to see them all murder cases?
Absolutely. If you're going to drink and drive and kill, then you've murdered somebody.
New York state law has already been beefed up. The legislature recently upgraded the penalty for vehicular manslaughter. Now, if you drive drunk and kill someone, you could go to prison for up to 7 years. Kathleen Rice says that is woefully inadequate. But until laws change, legal experts think it's a stretch to apply current murder statutes to most drunk driving cases.
It's very difficult when someone is completely drunk to establish that they had intention to do anything.
You have to look into the state of mind of the individual. And clearly a drunken person or a lost and drunk person clearly does not fit that statute.
Heidgen's lawyer says we don't need a new murder law. He believes manslaughter fits the bill for DWI homicides, and he says he is supremely confident the murder conviction of Heidgen will be overturned on appeal. Carolyn Gusoff, News Channel 4.
The divorce battle between Paul McCartney and Heather Mills has taken another ugly twist.